What's going on, LEGO Maniacs? It's Ty, the LEGO guy here, and welcome to another LEGO Star Wars review. Today we're taking a look at the highly debated UCS Assault on Hoth. That's set 75098. It had 2,144 pieces, 15 minifigs, retailed for $249.99 USD, and it came out in 2016. Now nowadays this is going for 425 new or 323 used. It hasn't appreciated all that much, and that's partly because it is so debatable, but we're gonna take a look at this set's positives and negatives as usual and figure out whether the hate is warranted or if it's not. But enough talk, let's get right into it. And to start us off, we'll begin by taking a look at a number of smaller builds that are included in this set. So the first is the Tauntaun. This has been the same since 08, I do believe, and it's a pretty good looking mold. You can also raise and lower the arms. Moving on, we'll take a look at the Wampa. This is one of the few sets that included them, and I really like this big fig. It's very similar to the Hulk one. They're identical in size. It's just little key differences with the mold. And again, you can raise the arms. You can even take one of the arms off if you want to make it like Luke cut it off. And then moving on to the Imperials. This is part of the reason why it shouldn't be called the Assault on Hoth. This is all the Imperials that are included. So we get a pretty good looking speeder bike. Has a couple stickers on it. This was definitely good for the time, an improvement over the 2010 Snowtrooper Battle Pack. And then we have an E-Web blaster. Now my one complaint with this is it is just a bit too big. As you can see, it also has a stud shooter on the top. I still think it's a pretty good design. It's just, it shouldn't be that much bigger than the minifigure. And to store extra studs, they have a little container that has a number of more 1x1 red studs, so quite smart. And then last but not least, we'll take a look at this small Rebel speeder. This is used to transport Rebel personnel to their snow speeders. And it also has these canisters, which we'll take a little bit more look at later on in this review because it does have a play feature with the main Echo base. Overall, pretty good looking little smaller builds. Let's now take a look at the snow speeder. Here's the Rebel snow speeder. So as you can see, it hasn't changed all that much from any of the previous or future models, barring maybe the 1999 snow speeder. Has a number of stickers on it, unfortunately, but they do add some nice detail. It has a stud shooter at the back, along with the tow cable that's used to wrap up the AT-AT. And you can unwind it and kind of put it around the AT-AT, which is nice. And on the bottom, as you can probably see, jutting out, it has those spring-loaded shooters. And they work as you'd expect. Now getting into the interior of the model, we'll just raise the cockpit like so. And there's a little sticker piece back here, along with another sticker piece for the front console. This is a pretty decent looking snow speeder. It is not life-changing as far as snow speeders go, just because it is basically identical to what we have had in the last number of years. You can also open up these flaps though, and it reveals some more sticker pieces. Overall, pretty detailed looking little snow speeder. Let's now take a look at one of the main complaints people have with this set, which is the shield generator. Now objectively, this is not terrible looking. It looks relatively accurate as far as the dishes go and the snow that's surrounding it. However, come on LEGO, include another dish and we'd be good to go. No idea why they mess up so hard on a UCS set, but that's what they did, and that's why this set partly gets so much hate. This does have a really cool feature though. If you'll notice this piece that's jutting out, well, if you hit it, it blows up like so. So that works really smart. Like the fact that there's translucent orange in the interior of the shields as well. Just a nice little added detail. And just to give you guys an idea of what's going on inside, that's what it looks like. Overall, again, this is not a terrible build. Just include another shield or another dish and we'd be good to go. And now we've come to one of my favorite parts of the set, which is all the turrets and guns. This is so cool looking. They really got this accurate as far as I'm concerned. And just so you know, the one feature that this has is this one heavy blaster. You can shoot off studs. It does have one of those rotating stud shooters. It's kind of like a machine gun. And it's probably one of my favorite stud shooters, as much as I don't like stud shooters. As you can see in the interior here, they have a bunch of snowbanks and the smaller blasters that are kind of making, this defense up. Another thing I will mention is you can stick a minifigure in here. If you wanted to have one of the rebel soldiers kind of sitting on top of this turret, you can do that, which is a decent play feature. And these smaller blasters, they do rotate. This was one of the main reasons I bought this set. I just think it looks really, really good. And giving you guys a view again of the front. This is what one of the turrets looks like with the rebel soldier sitting in there. I don't really prefer it. I think it looks a little wonky, but if you want to do that, you can. And it does have a spring-loaded shooter on the bottom right here. And now we've come to Echo Base. So I'm going to attempt to give you guys a 360 view of this all together. There are basically 5 builds that you can attach and detach. And this is what it looks like if you have them all combined. It basically is one big play set, which is part of the reason why this should be a master builder set, not a UCS set. But I thought I'd give you guys a 360 view of it all together and then break it down room by room. I do like the overall look of this. I love the doorway to this set. Let's now break it down area by area. And now we've come to the main gun that kind of makes up the Assault on Hoth. It's this one right here that kind of, it shoots off into space and hits that Star Destroyer. And I feel it looks really, really good. And I love the feature on this. So you'll notice this Technic back right here. Well, if you pull this, it shoots really well. That nearly hit the ceiling. Like, that's one of the best spring-loaded shooters I've ever seen. Basically on par with the rubber ones. As much as I love those, I still think that this one's pretty good. As much as spring-loaded shooters aren't my thing, then you also get another turret. It is identical to the last one that we took a look at. I feel they really got the shaping right on the main gun, and what's awesome about it is you can open her up to reveal a little interior, and inside you'll notice he has this computer that shows the Star Destroyer that he's shooting, along with a couple control panels. I did take his helmet off because if you leave it on, it's very difficult to close it up like so. It will jut out a little bit, which I do not like. Overall, very happy with these 2 builds. Let's now move on to the next. And now we've come to another negative that makes up this set, which a lot of people complain about, and that is the Wampa Cave. Notice the Wampa cannot fit through the door at all. So that is a bit of a knock. This does have a feature though. If you want to make it like Luke's using the Force and he's trying to get his lightsaber, you can do that by pressing this down, but it kind of just hits the Wampa. But it's an interesting play feature. Again, this cave is definitely lacking though. And then on a more positive note, we'll take a look at the main computer room of the Assault on Hoth. Now I really like this. Giving you guys a little bit closer look. You'll notice the radar along with some basic letters for this sticker back here. Basic is what the Star Wars language is, basically their version of English. Really like this little room. This is not a negative, but again, the Wampa Cave is just atrocious. This also has some nice stickers on either side. There's a lot. These are all stickers pretty much, except for the computer pieces in the right. This set really should have included General Riken. This would have been a perfect opportunity for them to do that. They didn't, and yeah, I guess it's a small negative, but not the end of the world. Let's now take a look at probably one of the oddest parts of the set, which is this Tauntaun stall / crate moving machine. very odd. The Tauntaun stall, I don't mind. I think that makes sense. They got some vegetation for him to eat. Now, as far as the container moving machine, that's not bad. I mean, it's kind of getting you a little bit of more playability with it as a kid. So what you can kind of do is just move this back and forth. You can make it pick up a crate. And there you go. Then you can transport it. It's kind of useless, but it is interesting, I will say. And it gives you a little bit of playability with that Rebel speeder. What I did like about this, though, is it has another unique looking sticker. This just goes back here. Thought I'd give you guys a closer look of it. Overall, I'm not against this build. I just think it's kind of odd. Let's now move on to my favorite part of this model, which is Echo Base's main doors. I used this in a mock because I thought it was so good. Didn't really have to make one myself. Give you guys a 360 view of it. Love the fact that they use the big ugly rock pieces or burps to kind of make up either side of the door. And it has a couple play features. The main one, obviously, is opening up the doors. So how you kind of do that is you just spin this Technic toggle and it opens up like so. The other thing I really appreciated about it is, unlike the Wampa Cave, you can very snugly just fit a snowspeeder through the doorway, so it makes sense. You couldn't fit the Falcon or anything like that, but you can fit that at least. The other thing that you can kind of do with this set is raise almost like this little watchtower, just like so. As you can see, he's sitting up there. I will show you guys what that kind of looks like, just adjusting the camera a little bit. And you can even rotate it if you so desire. It's basically just a long Technic piece that kind of is supporting it. And the other thing that you can kind of do with this set is, if you want to mix and match the turrets, you can do that by literally just placing these ones on here. I wouldn't call it a play feature, but just if you want to display it differently. And I do believe that looks quite good, kind of menacing. Let's now take a look at the minifigures. And the first three minifigures that we'll take a look at is just going to be the Rebel Trooper, Han Solo, along with Luke Skywalker. Love Luke Skywalker's beat up face. It's one of the few times, or only time, we've got that face printing. Give you guys a view of their back torso printing and their back face printing. Luke just has a normal face, and Han has a little bit more cheery face than the other one. I just wish Luke had leg printing like Han. Not a big deal, but it would have been a nice inclusion. These three minifigures I particularly really like. We have Wes Jansen, Wedge Antilles, and Torn Farr. This is one of the few times we've ever got any of these minifigures. You guys a 360 view of them. They all have back face printing, back torso printing. Most of the Rebel Troopers don't in this set, just so you're aware. And there's their back face printing. Jansen and Antilles have the same face printing, but obviously Torn has a little bit different face printing. Just thought I'd mention that. I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't make this Luke's land speeder. Instead they made this Wedge's, and yeah, I'm happy about that. Just gives you a little bit more variety with the Snowspeeder army. And here we have three of the Rebel Troopers. Love the fact that these guys have leg printing. They didn't have to do that, but they did. Interesting looking torso printing as well. I love Rebel Troopers, just so you guys know. None of them have any back face printing, but they do have back torso printing, which is identical to the minifigure on the right. If you take off his backpack, it will look like that. The set's really good at building your Rebel Trooper army. Let's now take a look at the next three minifigures. And that is the two snowtroopers that make up the entire assault on Hoth, along with another Rebel Trooper. It's kind of comical. A lot of people complain about that. But if we can look past the fact that there's not a lot of snowtroopers assaulting Echo Base, these snowtroopers look pretty good. Some people feel that these are the best snowtroopers we've ever got. As you can see, they have waist capes and nice looking torso printing. The Rebel Trooper also is not too bad. He has some leg printing, which is unique. And you get the wonderful angry clone face. The other snowtrooper in the middle is identical to the one on the left. I just thought I'd take off his backpack and his helmet so you can get a look at his face printing along with his back torso printing. Love the fact that these snowtroopers also have these backpacks. They kind of have done away with them in the latest edition of the snowtrooper, and I'm not a fan of that as much as I think those snowtroopers are not bad. They just aren't quite as good as these ones. And these are the last 3 minifigures that make up this set. We have K3PO, R3A2, and just another standard Rebel Trooper. Really like the droids in this set. I do believe that this astromech droid is unique to this model. Love the fact that he has a translucent head. And the protocol droid is also pretty cool. I think he was included in a couple other sets, but he is still quite rare, coming in that nice white color. Let's now get into the end of the review and get my final thoughts. Well guys, that was my review. Do hope you enjoyed it. This set has 3 key flaws. The first one is this should not be called a UCS set. It is definitely a master builder set. There's no plaque and there are some blatant inaccuracies, which leads us to the second point, which is the shield generator. Come on, LEGO, you gotta give us 4 of those dishes, not just 3. And last but not least, the fact that the Wampa Cave doesn't fit the Wampa is also ridiculous. Now, as far as the rest of the set, when you look at this on the table, this is a cool looking set. Oh, actually, that leads us to the 4th point. This should not be called the Assault on Hoth, just because there's only 2 snowtroopers. But getting back to the set, this is a great looking set overall. If you didn't get a chance to buy all those smaller sets like myself and kind of make your own Battle of Hoth, you're gonna love this. And that's part of the reason why I really like this set. However, it has those big flaws. If it didn't have those flaws, if this was called a Master Builder set, if the shield generator was right, if the Wampa Cave actually fit the Wampa, you know, the door through the doorway, people would be saying much different things about the set. Maybe they'd say it was overpriced, but still, it looks pretty good, and I think it wasn't too overpriced. So overall, I don't think this set deserves as much hate as it gets, but those blatant inaccuracies, come on LEGO, you gotta figure it out. But overall, I still quite like this one. It just definitely is not perfect. But let me know what your personal opinion is on this one, if you like it, if you don't, and any areas, as always, that you think they could maybe improve on it. But that pretty well does the review. But if you liked it, leave it a thumbs up. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, you know, definitely consider subscribing, especially if you like LEGO Star Wars sets, and click that bell so you're notified for any future Star Wars reviews. We do one of them every single Tuesday, but that's all I got for you again. But thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.